It was a night like any other at the rehab facility where I worked the night shift. The routine consisted of paperwork, occasional security checks, and keeping an eye on the camera monitors that lined the office walls. Our gate was fortified with surveillance cameras, and a doorbell camera served as our first line of interaction with anyone approaching. On this particular night, something unsettling unfolded. I was engrossed in paperwork when a figure passed the camera's view. A man, seemingly ordinary at first glance, took a few steps past the gate, then abruptly halted. He turned slowly, almost mechanically, and began to walk back toward the camera. His movements were deliberate, his pace measured. I glanced up at the monitor, expecting him to continue on his way, but he didn't. Instead, he stopped, directly in front of the camera, and stared up at it. His gaze was unwavering, fixated on the lens with a haunting intensity. It was the kind of stare that sent shivers down your spine, a gaze devoid of life or emotion. His eyes were like vacant wells, depths that seemed to harbor the weight of unspeakable horrors. I hesitated, then decided to use the intercom to check on him. My voice crackled through the speaker, asking if he was okay, but he remained silent, his eyes piercing into the camera as if he could see right through it. The rules dictated that if someone wasn't in immediate danger, it was best to avoid unnecessary interactions. I retreated to my paperwork, trying to shake off the unease that had settled in. For the next 2 hours, he stood there, unblinking, unmoving. The same dead-eyed expression remained fixed on the camera, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he was somehow peering directly into my soul. The office became suffused with an uncomfortable tension, as if an unseen darkness had permeated the room. I decided to take a round to calm my nerves, hoping he would be gone upon my return. As I circled the facility and returned to the office, I glanced at the camera monitor, only to find the man had disappeared. The relief I expected didn't come. Instead, a new wave of dread washed over me. Where had he gone, and what had he been contemplating during those 2 haunting hours of uninterrupted staring? The night continued, but the memory of the staring man lingered like a shadow, casting a pall over the otherwise routine night shift. The facility was in a rough neighborhood, but this encounter felt different, an encounter that left me questioning the thin boundary between the living and something far more unsettling that lurked in the shadows of that fateful night. In the dimly lit hours of the night, the gas station truck stop I worked at became an eerie, isolated place. As a teenager, I was entrusted with the responsibility of closing down the establishment, a task that often left me alone in the quiet darkness. Little did I know, the person I had considered my boss, a seemingly ordinary figure, harbored a sinister secret. Closing up shop late at night was routine, but there was always a lingering discomfort when my boss appeared unexpectedly, emerging from the shadows as I counted the till under the glow of the backup lights. His demeanor remained unnervingly calm, as if the late hours were nothing out of the ordinary, despite the unsettling context. It was 11 p.m., a time when most people would be at home with their families, not lurking around a gas station. The unease extended beyond the workplace. He was present at my high school graduation, an unexpected guest celebrating a milestone in my life. His and his wife's numbers were still saved in my phone, a connection that now seemed ominous given the revelations that would unfold. Years later, the chilling truth came to light. The man I once considered my boss was now on trial for a heinous crime committed in 1994. The cold case had found new life through the advancements of DNA and modern science, revealing a horrifying tale of murder. The victim, a prostitute, met a gruesome end, stabbed to death by the same person who had calmly stood beside me in the late hours of the gas station. The revelation sent shockwaves through my memories, casting a sinister shadow over what had once seemed like mundane encounters. The person I had interacted with, shared space with, and even trusted to a certain extent, had been living a dark double life. The facade of normalcy shattered, leaving behind a disturbing truth that made me question not only the safety of those late-night shifts, but also the hidden depths of the people we think we know. The gas station, once just a workplace, now carried the weight of a chilling secret that had long been concealed in the shadows. A while back, I had this job that kicked off at a mind-numbing 3:30 in the morning. The work itself was dull, but the commute was a whole different story. You see, the world gets downright weird in the wee hours. It's a time when road hazards haven't been reported yet, and unexpected surprises lurk around every corner. One day, I decided to pull off the freeway, and that's when I stumbled upon something bizarre. The off-ramp I took was flooded, completely submerged. I couldn't fathom how my car managed to wade through without stalling, but it did. It was like stepping into an alternate reality where the normal rules just didn't apply. Yet, the oddest discovery came when I was nearing my workplace one early morning. Ahead of me, something felt off. As I slowed down, I was met with an unexpected sight: a colossal police blockade. Squad cars were scattered everywhere, and the place was swarming with heavily armed officers. The strangest part? Absolute silence enveloped the scene. They silently motioned for me to take a detour down a side street. It was a moment that sent shivers down my spine, a massive police operation unfolding in the dead of night. The eerie quiet, the heavily armed presence, and the sense of secrecy created a chilling atmosphere. It made me realize that if law enforcement has to raid a home, they choose the unearthly hours of 3 or 4 in the morning, counting on the chance that everyone inside would be peacefully asleep. That morning, I became an unwitting witness to the surreal dance between law enforcement and the unsettling quietude of the world at 3 a.m. I used to work the night shift at Home Depot, and there was this one week where our store decided to stay open 24 hours. Most nights were pretty uneventful. Not many people came shopping for home improvement stuff at the odd hours of the night. Well, except for a couple looking for marble countertops at 1:30 in the morning, the woman dressed in a nice evening gown. There was also this other lady in shorts and a stereotypical white with black belt karate outfit, shopping for a specific toilet paper roll holder after midnight. She had oddly precise preferences. But the real story happened in the insulation aisle. It was nearly 3 in the morning, and a co-worker and I were stocking insulation, doing some maintenance work. Suddenly, a bunch of big R30s fell from their bay. As I was sorting through the mess, a hand shot out and grabbed my arm. I completely lost it, and my co-worker freaked out too. Even our boss, who was on the other side of the store, came to see what the commotion was about. Turns out, a homeless guy had snuck into the store, probably before the night crew arrived, and had made a makeshift bed in the insulation. The dude was in bad shape, clearly deep into some heavy intoxication. We had to call the police to remove him. It was a creepy and unexpected encounter, and from then on I was a bit more cautious around the insulation aisle during those 24-hour shifts. You never know what or who might be hiding in there.